Today is Saturday, the 6th of November 2021, and this is the sixth session for Mindfulness for Beginners in English. I would like to warmly welcome, with permission, Venerable Bante Homagama Dhamma Kusala Thero to today's program. I would also like to warmly welcome all the participants joining via Zoom and Mixlr. And I would like to invite Venerable Bante to kindly commence with the initial mindfulness period in this program. Just a bit of background, we are making a slight change to our schedule in this session, and Bante will initiate the session now. Venerable Bante, over to you. Thank you.
Dear Dhamma friends, today also we are starting another program. So we thought that maybe today we are doing some changes in the schedule. So we can start with practice, maybe take about 5 minutes to practice mindfulness and then move into the other parts of the program. So initially we will take about 5 minutes to do a mindful sitting session. For this one, you have to adjust your seat, make yourself comfortable, and just close your eyes and see whether you have comfort in your seating arrangement. Sit in a comfortable manner, close your eyes gently, and pay attention that you are sitting. Become aware that you feel certain things in this sitting posture. Maybe you feel your body, the pressure on your back, pressure on your legs, how the hands are placed. These things you might notice. Maybe for some of you, you may notice the breath going in and coming out. Maybe it is more prominent in the nostrils, maybe in the chest, maybe in the stomach. Just become aware that you feel your breath. Maybe some other sensations as well. Maybe like a heartbeat kind of a vibration you will feel inside your body. Whatever we feel, we just become aware that these sensations are there. When you do this, you will notice that your attention is jumping here and there. Sometimes it will go to sounds. Sometimes it will go to thoughts. When that happens, you can become aware that your attention is with the sound. Become aware that your attention is with the thought. With that awareness, we again and again try and bring our attention back to the present moment. Bring our attention back to the body. Let the sounds and thoughts come and go while you being aware. Maybe you will feel your breath. Maybe you feel pain inside your body. Maybe you feel sleepy. So whatever that comes, we try to be aware about them. Again and again, we bring our attention to the present moment. So in this manner, we will try and sit for few more minutes. Okay, now you can open your eyes again. So that's about 10 minutes of mindful sitting, and you can try and introduce this to your day-to-day life. That way you can continue your practice, maybe 10-15 minutes daily. If you can reserve for this, that's a very valuable investment for your peace in mind, for your happiness, for your day-to-day mental health. So with that practicing part, we will move forward to the next item.
Thank you very much, Bante, for introducing the practice session at the very beginning there. And next in our program session today is the explanation of the beginner's guide to mindfulness. I will share my screen and go through the guide now. So this is involving a few steps. The first step is to familiarize yourself with two videos on YouTube, mindful walking and mindful sitting. These, once you are familiar with these two videos, you can have some idea of what has to be done. And then you can, as Bante also mentioned, you can allocate some time each day for a quick session of mindful walking and another session of mindful sitting, and uh, 10 minutes to 20 minutes or even 40 minutes or even 1 minute, 1 hour are good time periods for you to start with if you have the time. And you should try minimum 10 to 15 minutes a day. Bante also mentioned this time duration. Once you do this for a few days, you would have collected 2 hours of each practice, or about 4 hours of the total practice, mindful walking plus mindful sitting. Then you can move on to the next stage, which is to write a reflection report. Here you should try to write in your own words what you experienced in as much detail as you can from memory after the session. What you felt during walking, whether you felt body movement, the sole of your feet, the attention shifting from movements to thoughts, or from thoughts to movements, and how you got to know that happening. All that sensations, all those sensations can be described in the report. In mindful sitting, you can describe how you perceive the breath, how you felt your body, internal body vibrations or heartbeat. Any sensation that you felt can be described in the report. And then you can send the report to us through either Google form or email, and we will present that to Bante, and Bante will provide suitable advice. The advice will be useful to you, not only to you, it will also be useful to all the others in the audience. We conduct this session every Saturday, every week, for your benefit, for our benefit. And these are the times. It's a 1.5 hour session, and you can log in through Zoom, and also Mixlr is also available. I will soon I will share these details in Zoom and Mixlr, and you can go through the details and start your practice and start writing reports. So I will stop sharing the screen there. Okay, so in today's session, we have made some changes. The next item on our schedule is going to be the reading of reflection reports. And I would like to invite Lushani to start reading the reports now. Over to you, Lushani. Thank you.
Thank you, Namanta. Bante Avasarai. So there are 3 reports in total for today. I will start with the first report. The first report is from a 10-year-old child. The first report is, in today's session, I learned a lot about mindfulness. I'm so grateful to join this session. Mindful walking. When I started to mindful walk, I felt the dust and the cold flow on my feet. There were some thoughts, but I quickly remembered that I should be mindful. During thinking of the thoughts, I accidentally stepped on sharpener of the floor on the floor. I felt a little pain on my feet. Just as I felt that, I knew I should be more mindful on what I'm doing. I learned a valuable lesson that whatever we are doing, we should be mindful on that task. End of the report.
Okay, so your mind wanders, but after a while, when you feel that sharp sensation on your feet, your attention come back to the present moment. So that sensation is reminding you something. It's giving a important message and it's waking you up. So that's a good sign. Even during our day-to-day activities, we can practice this. Sometimes, let's say we do certain things, but suddenly with some sound or with some sensation, we come to the present moment. We come and we realize we were wandering somewhere, we were thinking, storytelling. So that's how we are developing. Little by little, you are more and more into the present moment. You spend more and more time in the present moment. So that's a good sign. You can keep this practice throughout the day. See how many minutes you get lost, and after a while suddenly it comes. Your attention come to the present moment with some kind of a sensation or a sound. Again, after a while it wanders away. Then again, there may be some sign or sensation that comes to the present moment. So this process happening all the time. When you are not mindful, you are not aware, at least now you know. Now you know that you should be more present. You should pay more attention to the present moment. You should be more aware. So that's a valuable finding. That's something we can use to progress ourselves. So do the mindful walking, do the mindful sitting as a supporting method, supporting practice, but you can focus on your day-to-day life as well. Try and see how many times you get lost during a day. Suddenly it comes to the present moment again. After a while it goes away. So this thing is happening again and again. When you practice more and more, you develop this skill to be present, the skill to be in the present moment more and more. So that skill we are developing little by little. We are failing, again we try. We fail, again we try. So these things are happening. So if you give up due to the failures, then it won't work. Any skill, if you want to develop, you have to, work towards success little by little. Failing again, you are trying. Failing again, you are trying. This way, we will improve little by little. So this report reflects that one. You made a mistake, but you became aware and you started being mindful again. So continue this practice, continue to share your experience with us. And with time, you can find more and more interesting facts about mindful practice.
Thank you, Bante. Report 2. When I sit, I feel that my back becomes warm, my legs become relaxed. When walking, I feel that first. The place where I keep my foot is cold and then it becomes warmer. End of the report.
Can you repeat the first part again? Because it started raining here. I couldn't hear the first part.
Yes, Bante, absolutely. So the report goes, when I sit, I feel that my back becomes warm. My legs become relaxed. When walking, I feel that first. The place where I keep my foot is cold and then it becomes warmer. End of the report.
Okay, so you notice certain details while walking and sitting. Now, if you put more and more time into this, let's say every day you are spending 10-15 minutes to do this, then you will start noticing more and more details. Even in your body, while walking, while sitting, you will notice more and more subtle details. In order for you to notice, you have to put more time. Be more mindful again and again. When you do that, you will start noticing more and more details. So my suggestion is that do more of mindful walking and mindful sitting. Try to observe more and more details. With time, you will see that while sitting, I notice these things. While walking also, I notice these things. So you have a good stepping stone. You report you have certain details that you noticed. You just need to spend more time. When you spend more time, you can be much more vivid in your reporting.
Thank you, Bhante. Report 3, walking meditation. Walked on tiled floor 25 steps. Before turning, noted the difference in weight in each foot, more on right than left. Walked observing lifting, moving, placing of each foot. The hardness of the floor compared to the foot and the hardness of the heel compared to toes were noted. The difference in pressure in each part of the foot, change in temperature, the grit on the floor sticking to foot was observed. The change in position when placing the foot at times the heel, other times the toes or the side of the foot to gain balance. After about 45 minutes, felt a cold sensation on the upper medial parts of both feet, like cold air blowing, while the rest of the foot was warm. Felt some sweaty areas between toes and noted the parts of foot not touching floor like the medial arch and the area between toes and the forefoot. Thoughts were distracting to begin with, but sounds not so. Walked 1 hour. Bhante, shall I read the sitting meditation as well in the same report?
Okay, go ahead.
Sitting meditation. After the walking meditation, sat mindfully on cushion. Primary object was to watch breath. Watched in and out breath, noting cold air in and warmer air out. More prominent first in right and then left nostril. Very soon the breath broke up and disappeared. It reappeared but was very subtle. In breath shorter than out breath. Mind wandered and thoughts distracting, but could bring mind back to breath. Opened eyes but noted had another 10 minutes to go, so decided to continue till the alarm went after an hour. End of the report.
Okay, so in this report, we have much more details. That's what we were talking about in the earlier answer. When you do more and more time, when you do mindful walking and sitting, when you spend more and more time, then you realize subtle details, lot more details. Like in this report, you can see so many things are happening, but you are just the observer. You notice all the things. You notice how the walking is happening, how the pressure is different, how the temperature is different. All these things are there, but you are just calmly walking while observing these sensations. Then when it comes to sitting also, you notice the difference between incoming and outgoing. Then you notice how it is touching your nostrils. So these are good observations. Whenever you tell these details, you are telling that you are in the present moment, you are paying attention to the present moment, and that's how you were observing these details. If your mind was wandering, then you can't write such details, such vivid and colorful reports you can't write, because you are lost in your mind. But when you pay attention, you see all the vivid, colorful details in this process, in the walking and the sitting process. So when you have such details, it's a good sign that you are in the present moment. Now your meditation, your practice goes into a new dimension. Now you see, in both your sitting and walking reports, you are suggesting that sounds were not so disturbing. You could manage them with mindfulness. But thoughts, they were disturbing you. In both walking and sitting, you are referring to thoughts as distractions. So your experiment would be to try and see when these thoughts come. Just become aware that your attention is with a thought. Now you know how to bring your attention back to the walking, or you know how to bring your attention back to the breath. Since you are skilled in that area, you can just wait and see what is happening. When these thoughts come, just wait for a moment, become aware, pay attention, become mindful, and see whether your attention is staying with the thoughts forever, or whether it is returning to your body or some other sound after a while. So this is a new experiment that we are going to do. Instead of suddenly bringing our attention back to the body, back to the walking or the sitting process, we just become aware that our attention is with a thought. With that awareness, we observe and see what is happening. Maybe it will go into a storytelling. Maybe it will jump into a different thought. Maybe it will come to your body again. So you have to tell us what happens after that. You have to be aware that your mind is with a thought, and just be the observer without doing anything and tell us what is happening. Maybe you can tell that my attention came back to the body. Maybe you will tell that it kept storytelling, so I got fearful and I brought my attention back to the body. Maybe you will tell some other story. So you have to experiment with that. You have to develop your skill with handling thoughts and these type of things. So that's the next part, next step of your practice. Now you know how to be mindful with the body, how to manage sounds. Now the thoughts are your next challenge. So you have to see calmly, just see if I become aware that my attention is with the thought, what is happening. Whether it will keep storytelling or whether it will come back to the body after a while. So you have to do that experiment and tell us what's happening. Then that's a good way to open new dimensions of your practice. If we keep fearing thoughts, if we continue to think that they are distractions, then your practice won't progress. So you have to make sure that you are doing this type of experiment. You have to make sure that you are little by little taking a risk with the thoughts. I'm asking you to take a risk because now you know how to bring your attention back to the body. Now you know how to bring your attention back to the breath. So if you lost faith, you can, of course, bring your attention back to the body or the walking process. With that ability, with that skill, now we are experimenting with the thoughts. Just let the thoughts happen, let them come and go freely, and just become the observer. Just notice what is happening. Maybe it will go to like a chain of thoughts. Maybe it will start storytelling. Maybe it will come back to your body again. You have to tell us. So this experiment you have to do again and again. Every time when there's a thought, you just observe mindfully and see what is happening. It came back to the body. Again, there might be a thought after a while. Then what is happening? Okay, it went to 2 or 3 thoughts and then came back. Like that, you have to tell your story. So you can identify some kind of a pattern when you do that again and again. Like how you notice the pattern of your breath, you will notice how the thoughts patterns are happening. Maybe there could be like a chain of a thought. Small thought pieces gathered together, making a chain kind of a situation. So just do that experiment and tell us next time what is happening with that type of a thought process, and we can further discuss on this point.
Thank you, Bhante. That concludes the reports for today. Participants can now raise their hand and ask questions if they have any from Bhante. Bhante, there is a question from Don. Don, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Thank you, Roshani. Bhante, I asked a question at last Saturday's session as well, and you gave me a very complete answer. So thank you for that. This is related to that. The question was around how to incorporate meditation into life when you're very busy. So you mentioned last time that if it is challenging to find time for sitting meditation and walking meditation, a good tactic would be to be alert and mindful during daily activities and develop mindfulness as we go about daily activities. That is very good advice. The question for you, Bhante, is if we can do that as in develop our mindfulness through alertness during daily activities, why is making time for sitting meditation, you mentioned 20 minutes and then growing it up minute by minute, maybe up to about an hour. Why is sitting meditation important?
Okay, let me ask you a question. Now, did you try during last week, during day-to-day activities, did you try to be mindful?
Thank you, Bhante. Yes, but with mixed success because it is quite challenging. There are times of the day I catch myself and I am involved or I am alert, but of course, I lose that mindfulness fairly soon.
Yes, so that's your answer. We try and do formal practice because it's hard to be present, because it's hard to stay alert about the present moment. So although you try, you notice that, of course, I fail a lot of the time. My mindfulness is not strong enough to face this day-to-day life. But you are not giving up. You can continue. You can pick certain activities that you can do with ease, maybe like brushing your teeth, maybe having a meal, something like that. You can target. You can practice during them. But when you practice, you notice that it's hard. It's hard to pay attention to the present moment. You get lost again and again. And that's the reason for formal practice. So it is like attending a class. Let's say you want to play violin. You can self-learn, of course, but it's hard. So if you go to a class, spend few hours of intense practicing, then that helps a lot. So that's what we are doing. We spend at least like 15, 20 minutes of intense practicing. And that helps for you to continue your mindfulness, carry your mindfulness throughout the day. So that's the strength we are building. With that strength, we are going into our day-to-day lives. So it's good that you noticed that it is hard. I fail a lot of the time. So when you notice that, you reserve some time for your formal practice. You do mindful walking and sitting as a training session. With that training, with that strength, you go to your day-to-day life. Still you feel that you are getting lost. Maybe not so much as it used to be, but still you are getting lost. Then again and again, you do your formal practice. Develop that strength, and with that strength, you go to your day-to-day life. Again, you come back, do the formal practice, and go to your day-to-day life. So that process has to happen again and again till you are confident that I can face day-to-day life without formal practice. So when there's no difference between formal practice versus day-to-day life, you are done. Did I give a sufficient answer?
Bhante, 100%. Thank you so much.
Okay, it would be good if you can come back with maybe a formal report, formal practicing part, 10 to 15 minutes. Then we are making progress.
I will do so. Thank you, Bhante.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Bhante. There aren't any other hands raised. So I will conclude the Q&A session and hand it back over to Namantha. Namantha, back to you. Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you very much for coordinating the Q&A session, Lushani. And many thanks to Bhante for kind and instructive and insightful advice to all of us. So with that, with the Q&A session concluding, the next item on our agenda is for Bhante's talk on mindfulness. Now, on behalf of the entire audience, I would like to invite Bhante to kindly provide us with valued, insightful guidance on mindfulness. Thank you, Bhante. Over to you.
Dear mindful friends, so we spent some time doing the practice and we had certain questions or the experiences. So it's a good way to, warm up the session. Now we can little bit discuss about our practice. I'll take some time to discuss more and more details about our practice. Now I will start with a small story. Now there was this person who was really happy. He was smiling, he was spending his day-to-day life with peace. He had good friends and he was managing his work well. So people were wondering, now this person it seems like he is happy. Maybe he has a secret. So one of his friends went to him and he asked, I see that you are always happy. What do you do to become happy? That was his question. What do you do to become happy? Then this person answered, to become happy, I walk. To become happy, I sit. To become happy, I eat. To become happy, I brush. To become happy, I do these type of things. So his friend was replying, I am also walking. I am also sitting. I eat as well. So I am also doing all these activities, but still I am not happy. Now you are saying by doing these activities, you become happy. Then this person again asked, now when you walk, what do you think about? Then his friend was answering, now when I walk, I think about my office work. When I walk, I think about my children. When I walk, I think about my past. So he was telling his story. And his friend replied, that's not the way to be happy. If you want to be happy, when you walk, become aware that you are walking. When you sit, become aware that you are sitting. When you eat, become aware that you are eating. When you brush, become aware that you are brushing. By doing that only, you can be happy. Otherwise, you are lost in your mind. A lost mind is an unhappy mind. So he was giving his secret. He was telling about it. If you want to really become happy, you have to pay attention to whatever the activity that you are doing. So we can really say, I walk to be happy. I sit to be happy. I eat, I drink, I brush, I do all these other things to be happy if you are paying attention to them. If you are focusing, then you can be mindful, you can be aware about those activities, and that's the key towards happiness. More and more you stay in the present moment, you have become more and more happier person day by day. So that's the secret towards happiness. If your mind is lost, maybe in the past, maybe in the future, then you are unhappy. This thinking mind is the main source of frustration, anxiety, pressure, depression, all these things in our life. So instead, if you pay attention that you're walking while walking, if you pay attention that you are sitting while sitting, if you know you are eating while eating, then that's the key towards happiness. So the listeners here, you too, do these activities. Every day you are walking, every day you are sitting, every day you are having meals, every day you are brushing. All these activities you are doing. But while doing them, you think about some other thing. So you have to intentionally bring your attention back to the walking again and again. Bring your attention back to the sitting again and again. Become aware that you are eating something again and again. So that skill, if you develop, then that's the source, that's the key towards happiness. Now, when you try that, it comes to our last question. When you try that, you notice that it is hard. It is hard to be present. It is hard to pay attention to the present moment. You are getting lost again and again. Maybe you pay attention for 1 minute, then your mind is lost for hours. Then again, it comes back for 1 minute. You become aware that last few hours I was somewhere else. Again, you try to be focused, but again, your mind goes. So this process is again and again happening. When you notice that it is hard, you have to reserve some time for formal practice. Reserve some time for just sitting. Reserve some time for just walking. And become aware of that practice. Become aware that you are sitting. Become aware that you are walking. When you do that, it's like intense training session that you are doing. With that training, with that help, with that power, you go into your day-to-day life. Maybe early morning, if you do like 20 minutes of sitting, then head towards your work, then you realize first few hours I was a bit mindful. Then towards the end of the day, it was as usual. Maybe you come home so stressed and you can't fall asleep even. Then again, maybe you can do about 20-30 minutes of mindful walking. Let go of those thoughts. Let go of those incidents. And if you approach your sleep like that, maybe you feel that I can fall asleep more easily. So that way, we have to incorporate this mindful practice, this formal practice into our day-to-day life. By doing that only, you can feel that now I am being more mindful during my day-to-day activities. Now I can know that I am walking while walking. Now I can know that I am sitting while sitting. Now I know at least for some time that I am eating while having a meal. So all the devices, computers, televisions, they are not helping. So you have to separate yourself from these devices. Now usually every time when you get an alert from your mobile, you can't keep your mind on something else. You have to suddenly go and check your phone. So that is like training your mind. Every time when the bell rings, you go and check your phone. Every time when the bell rings, you go and check your phone. And when you open some kind of app or something, it is continuously feeding you. It is called a feed. It's like feeding a pig. It is feeding all the details. And maybe you will spend about 1 or 2 hours going up and down, checking your status, Facebook updates, and all the stuff. So that time totally lost in some other world. That time you can't be mindful. So make some limitations for those devices. Discipline for a while. Maybe after 2 hours only you are checking. Not all the time. Disable that sound. Every 2 hours I am checking. Usually phone, if you keep it active only for calls and messages, that's enough. That's a person trying to reach, not some kind of app. All the app updates you can check every 2 hours or 3 hours. Make some kind of a room for you to be present in your day-to-day life. Otherwise, you are just becoming a slave of these new age devices. That type of a change you have to do in your day-to-day life. Otherwise, if you go with the flow is towards unmindfulness. The flow is towards ignorance. So it is called the herd mentality. Majority is going towards that way. But once in a while, a person realizes that although I like to go through this flow, go with the flow, it is difficult. It is creating so much difficulty in my life. Maybe it is creating suicidal thoughts in me. Maybe I am so angry. So these are the real problems that humans are facing today. Maybe due to technology, maybe due to all these devices, maybe due to such busy lifestyles. So everybody is suffering. Everybody is having trouble managing these situations. And towards the end of their life, they become physically and mentally sick. Not even towards the end, even teenagers, they are mentally sick these days. Most of them, they take medicine for depression and these type of mental situations. So this is the product of this new age. This is the product of this technology and the devices. But if you feel that you are suffering due to these things, if you feel that you are mentally as well as physically becoming sick due to these things, if you feel that you are becoming a patient due to these things, then you can reserve some time to find peace in your mind. When it comes to the word patient, it has a really nice meaning. What is the meaning of the word? The one who suffers. That's the meaning of the word patient. So in a sense, we all are patients. We all suffer in certain ways. Maybe mentally, maybe physically we suffer. So if one realizes this suffering, then they would reserve some time to do this type of a practice, to find peace and happiness in their heart. If you want to find peace, then this is the secret. You have to know that you are walking while walking. Know that you are sitting while sitting. Know that you are having a meal while having a meal. Know that you are doing some other activity while doing that activity. More and more you stay in the present moment, more and more you become a happier and peaceful person. So that's the target. That's the aim of our practice. When you do this, you feel that certain thoughts are coming. Maybe destructive thoughts. Maybe certain emotions are coming. I'm having anger issues. Maybe certain urges are coming. Maybe certain memories are coming and hurting me. So if you have these things, you can be glad that you are human. This is the nature of human mind. You will get thoughts. You will get emotions. You will get urges. You will get memories. You will get certain feelings. Maybe good, maybe bad. So most people, they think that good things are good. Good emotions, good thoughts are good. But if it is bad, then you try to fight it. So there's this Red Indian story. This person is telling that I have two wolves in my mind. One is blue in color, other one is red in color. The blue color one, all the good qualities in my mind, kindness, compassion, generosity, all these things, that's the blue color wolf. Then there's a red color wolf, anger, jealousy, all these negative qualities, that's the red color wolf. And the person listening, he was asking, who will win? Which wolf will win? Then this person is saying, the one I feed. The one I feed, that's the wolf who will win. So pay attention, become aware and see which wolf you are feeding. Maybe you are feeding the blue color one. Once in a while, most of the time you are feeding the red color one. If you are feeding the red color one, that's the wolf that will win. But when you realize that there are two wolves in you, there are two types in you, then you start to fight the red color one. Every time you get angry, you become miserable. Every time you get lost, you feel like something happened that shouldn't happen. But these qualities are natural to our human mind. Anger is natural to our human mind. Jealousy is natural to our human mind. Lust is natural to our human mind. So you can't fight anger with anger. If you try to fight anger with anger, then that is more and more feeding the anger. You can't fight this red wolf. Instead, just stop feeding. Just become aware that red wolf is there. That's the way to change your behavior. You become aware that anger is there, but you are not fighting it. You become aware that these negative thoughts and memories are there, but you are not fighting it. Just let it be. By just letting it be, you win this fight. So with time, you realize that although the red wolf is there, I am not feeding it. I am not giving it power. I am not trying to fight anger with anger. Instead, I accept that I am a person with anger issues. Instead, I accept that I have lust. Instead, that I accept that I have certain urges. Instead, I accept that I am wounded. These past memories come and hurt me. That acceptance is the very practice that we are talking about. When you accept you are this imperfect person, you are this wounded person, that's the very first step towards healing yourself. Healing these wounds that are from the past. So stop fighting these negative qualities in your mind. Instead, just let it be. Instead, just accept this red wolf. By accepting only, you can win this type of a fight. When you get angry, maybe you can use some distractions. Breath is one distraction. When you're angry, you move your attention towards your breath. Observe the breath for a while. When you're angry, you listen to surrounding sounds for a while. When you're angry, you go for a walk. So these things you can use to manage these situations. These tricks you can use to change your behavior in such situations. Earlier you are reacting. Now you are keeping quiet and, paying attention to something else. Maybe after a few minutes, that anger is not so strong. Maybe you can investigate the root cause, the reasoning behind this anger. Why do I get angry on these situations? Why do I feel hurt? You can investigate. Maybe you will find some kind of a reasoning. Maybe you will find the reasoning behind the situation. Maybe you will find a deeper problem that is hidden underneath. So various ways are there to manage these situations. Instead of reacting, just, pay your attention to something else. Maybe reflect upon these thoughts. Maybe find the root cause. Maybe ignore them. Various things are there. Little by little, when you develop that strength, then one day you can observe this anger. Little by little, when you develop that strength, that power, you notice that when I get angry, my heartbeat is going up. When I get angry, my body is burning. When I get angry, I feel like that I am poisoning my system. So that observation, if you can be with the anger, if you can observe the anger, if you can observe the bodily changes, if you can observe the thoughts patterns and the emotional changes, then that's the acceptance that we are talking about. But you can't develop that power, you can't develop that strength suddenly. So you have to work towards it. Just observe this anger that is rising within you. So that's the best way to handle it. But if you can't, then you can do some kind of a trick to manage the situation. Maybe you can direct your attention to something else, as we discussed, and just skip that situation. Just skip those thought patterns. Just somehow manage this type of a situation. With time, you realize that I can face the situation more and more now. Instead of reacting, I can respond now. Now they say anger is like a child in a car. So most people, they give the driving seat to the child. Maybe about 35% of the people, they give driving seat to the child. So you can understand the result. The child will take this vehicle into some kind of a difficulty. Then the other 65%, they put this child in the trunk and shut him down. So both are not good. You can't give him the driving seat, as well as you can't put tape and put him in the trunk. Instead, this child should be in the car. It's your own child. So you have to observe what type of a person I am. Am I putting this child into the driving seat, or am I putting him in the trunk and closing? If you are a person that is giving him the driving seat, then your balance, your midpoint is towards becoming more and more silent, less reactive. If you are a person who is suppressing your anger, then your middle path is towards expressing it more and more. Not reacting, maybe responding. Telling that you felt angry. Expressing your anger in healthy ways. So when we say middle way, you can't exactly draw a line and show. Instead, you have to observe your character. Observe what type of a person I am. Am I giving the driving seat to this child? Or am I putting him in the trunk and shutting him down? So depending on your personal type, depending on your character, you have to respond accordingly. You have to find a midpoint towards the correct way. So when you pay attention, you notice that I suppress my anger. And maybe for days I feel hurt due to it. Maybe inside I'm storytelling, I'm cursing, I'm suffering because I suppress my anger. Then maybe you can experiment and see, can I express it in a healthy way? Can I tell this person that you made me angry? And maybe when you express it, suddenly you get release. You don't suffer for days. Maybe if you are exploding with anger, if you are giving him anger the driving seat, then you can stay quiet and see, can I not respond? Can I keep quiet? So that type of a experiment we have to do. You have to pay attention to yourself. You have to see what type of person you are. You have to observe how you are reacting. And with that observation, with that awareness, you have to approach your day-to-day life. You have to approach your thoughts. You have to approach your emotions. You have to approach your urges and memories and see how can I manage these type of situations. And that's the very essence of practice. Mindfulness is not hiding something, not putting anything into a closet and closing. Instead, this is like removing a plaster. When you remove the plaster, it is paining, of course. Wound is exposed. You feel uncomfortable. You feel the resistance. You feel the friction. But these things are natural. That's the reality. Although we don't want to accept it, that's the reality. With that reality, you have to find a way to manage it. How can I respond in such situations? What type of a person I am? So this observation, this self-discovery we are doing. Depending on your observations, you have to find certain tricks, find certain ways to manage these type of situations. So if you can experiment with yourself and if you can share your experience with the group, then that's the real way towards learning. When you share your experience, not only you are benefiting, but the entire group is benefiting, and they also can share their experience. And when we have such a discussion, then we learn a lot more. You understand how this person is doing this trick. I am also having this type of a problem. Maybe I can also get some hints, clues from him. That way, we are approaching our day-to-day life, we are approaching our difficulties, and little by little, we are going towards peace and happiness in our mind. So I hope this little talk was helpful in that sense. And I invite all of you to practice mindfulness, become aware in your day-to-day life, and see how you are managing these types of situations, how you are managing your thoughts and emotions, how you are managing your urges and memories. And if you share your experience, this is what I did, and this is how I survived, then we are learning as a group. We are progressing as a group. So with that invitation, I wish all of you a mindful week.
Thank you very much, Bhante, for that talk. And I'm sure we were able to gain a lot of understanding on the practical aspects of mindfulness and how to incorporate it in our daily lives. So thank you, Bhante. So with the Dhamma talk from Bhante, the session is ending for today. So reflecting on what we have achieved today, we did a live mindfulness practice of 10 minutes at the very beginning of the session. We gathered Bhante's guidance, firstly from the Q&A session and then from the talk. And now we have a week ahead to incorporate some practice on mindfulness into our daily schedules. Now I would like to thank with permission Most Venerable Bhante Udayiregama Dhammajiva Mahathero for suggesting to initiate this program. I would also like to thank, with permission, Venerable Bhante Homagama Dhamma Kusala Thero for a highly successful session on mindfulness with Dhamma talk and Q&A. And I would like to thank all the organizers who have worked very hard in initiating the program and also for sustaining the program every week like this. Then especially all the participants must be thanked for their commitment to attend this session and for their dedication for their time today on this topic. I would like to invite all of you to keep on practicing and submitting reports and raising verbal questions during session so Bhante can help us all. So with that, the session on mindfulness is over. So if any of you have any questions on the program or comments for us to review, you can raise them. You can raise a Zoom hand and you can speak to us so we can have some feedback from you. Yes, Gihanta, you can speak. I think you can unmute.
Thank you, Namanta. Actually, it's one final question for today, if there is time.
Yes.
Bhante mentioned earlier today that the reason why we try to focus on the present moment is so that we can be happy. Now, so if we take another example, like say, we see a slab of chocolate and we are enjoying it, we want to be happy. So yeah, it's easy to eat more and more chocolate and then you're happy. But with being mindful of the present moment, it's hard. So mindfulness in the present moment makes us happy, but being mindful is so hard. Why is that?
That is a question for Bhante. I think it is best if you can raise the question during next session. This is a reflection related question, so you can raise it during next session, Gyanta.
Thank you, Naman.
No worries. Okay. If anyone else has also got any questions, you can talk to us. I think there are no questions further on the program itself. Now, I will like to share the screen for two important announcements. So as you would all know, this is being conducted from Nissarana, and if you want to know further about Mitirigala Nissarana Forest Monastery, you can go on the website www.nissarana.lk and go through all the information to see what you can find further, which will help your practices. Website is there, constructed with a lot of detail, so you can visit the website. And then the Satipasala is another unique program offered from Nissarana Forest Monastery to the entire world. This is educating the child.
Radhika, I think we could conclude the session for today, right?
I guess so. So should I end the meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Then Thero Saranai to you all. We wish to see you all next week.